Welcome to Taking Stock. I'm Amanda Lang. Coming up on the show, improving how we build houses in Canada could help the whole economy. And a crisis in healthcare of our own making. Plus, how we feel about money dictates what we do. That's all ahead. First, for the week that was in business, it's time for the briefs. Canada managed to find growth in third quarter, once again avoiding a recession. Economists had warned that forecasts for half a percentage point GDP growth might be overly optimistic. The economy has proved to be surprisingly resilient, but faces major headwinds thanks to continued trade tension with the United States. Still, the central bank is calling for growth of 1% annualized in fourth quarter. Much will depend on the strength of retail sales in the final months of the year. Alberta and the federal government have the broad outlines of an energy deal, including support for a pipeline to the coast of BC. The agreement will include commitment on industrial carbon pricing, which in turn paves the way for a removal of the federal oil and gas sector emissions cap. BC is objecting to a new pipeline. Canada has agreed to restart talks with India for a trade pact after relations between the two countries soured in recent years. The agreement came on the sidelines of the G20 meeting in South Africa. Negotiations around trade were suspended in 2023 after Canada accused India of being complicit in the assassination of a Canadian citizen. Global oil prices could fall into the $30 range in the next couple of years, according to JP Morgan. The bank says rising output from countries including the U.S. would send supply higher in the near term and prices down. The bank thinks prices will settle back to the mid-50s by 2027. Total debt held by Canadians rose more than 4% in third quarter to $2.6 trillion, according to TransUnion, with balances rising in all categories. Mortgages rose 4.1%, while non-mortgage debt rose 4.3%. Lower interest rates drove many consumers to refinance their mortgages or renew early. That sent mortgage originations up 18% in the quarter. And those are your business briefs. Building more homes is a clear goal in Canada, but doing that in a way that improves rather than worsens our productivity is equally as important. Aled Iorwerth is Deputy Chief Economist at CMHC. Aled, great to have you with us.
Good to be with you.
So great work. I mean, CMHC has identified the housing need, and now you're saying there is a way to do this more efficiently. What's on the list of things we need to be looking at to not just build homes, but build them in a better way?
It's an all-hands-on-deck effort. We need everybody across the board. We've been talking a long time about policy changes at the municipal and other regulations. We need to continue to do that, but we also need to get the building sector to be more efficient, more productive. And we don't mean cutting jobs. What we mean is working smarter, working better management techniques, more digitization, more efficiency, new tools, more skills. We need all of this because housing affordability is such a critical issue for Canadians.
And you've identified some things on the technology side that would make the process of building more efficient. Is there a role for government to play there in helping businesses invest in that new technology and new processes?
These new technologies, they usually involve a fair amount of risk, and I think it's up to the government to help mitigate those risks and even to encourage and mandate perhaps even some of these technologies. We need to get the private sector to step up and innovate, but I think it's important for the government to recognize the risks that the private sector is taking and promote and incentivize that risk-taking. Can we mandate, for example, as other countries have done, that social and affordable housing projects require more digitization, that there's experimentation to lower costs? There's all sorts of opportunities here, and it's a critically important issue.
One of the things we seem to have missed a mark on, Aled, is the types of homes that have been built. We have a lot of small condos. We don't have as many rental units or single-family homes. Could we use some of your ideas around getting more productive and efficient in building and also get the mix better? I imagine that a multifamily unit is actually more efficient to build than a single-family home.
Yes, and we hear in other countries that 3-4 bedroom apartments are very common now. I think there's a challenge in Canada because we also hear in Canada that those are expensive to build, perhaps because of the regulations. So yes, we need larger units. But we also need, if you build a large structure on one side of the road, one of those large multi-unit structures that you mentioned, we can also build the same thing on the other side of the road. So we got these economies of scale. There's too much customization in housing, and we need to move to mass production.
Only 30 seconds here, but the federal government has a plan, Build Canada Homes. Are you a fan of it? Do you think it will achieve its goal?
I think it's important because it is tackling a key priority, which is more housing for low-income households. It is concentrating on social and affordable housing and getting those built more cost-effectively. But given that market housing is, 95% of the Canadian housing system, we need those technologies, those innovations, those productivity improvements across the board, all of market housing.
Oh, it's so good to have you for this. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Iorwerth is Deputy Chief Economist at CMHC. Coming up, healthcare costs continue to dominate spending in Canada. So how do we do better? Stay with us.